Looking good, I believe. Okay, welcome everyone to the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group for Tuesday, June 21st, 2016. And as you can see, and you can probably tell if you've been around the last month or two of plasma reactor groups, we have Lee Coates here once again showing his systems. Well, what do you got there today? It looks like you got twins. Lee, did one of them reproduce in the lab behind your back, or what's the deal there?
Two new ones here that are built, and they're working on another one. What I want to do is put 5 of these in a starship formation, 3 on the bottom and 2 stacked above. So I got a couple more to go for above. But I'm also varying the number of cores in the battery capacitor coils. So I'll have like the 4 the quad coil here, and then maybe 6 in this one, 8 in that one, or maybe I'll make a 10. Next one, I think I'll make 10. Maybe I'll put the bigger ones on the bottom and the 2 weaker ones on top or something. So, and then last night, laying in bed, I came up with this idea. I could put instead of putting the ping pong ball in the center, this is the
could you
either that goes in the center of the box there.
A little hard to see with when you raised it up there. We went out of the camera view.
Okay, so there's 4 battery capacitors in that go in the center of this design. This is the Mike Nashif design. Is intelligent quotient or infinity cores.
And just so people know, what are the other 2 devices? They're not the usual Keshe reactor as such, and it's what are they called again?
Besides the Keshe reactors, you got Mike Nashif, who's believes in these infinity wires, and he puts an infinity wire in the central wire in his capacitor instead of a straight wire. So he uses 18 gauge wire, and then he bends it back and forth. He says 4 times is enough, and then you twist it with your drill so that you get a you can't really see it here, but you get a twisted wire in there. And he claims that by doing that twist, it's sort of like a security code for your reactor. No artificial intelligence or anyone else can break in the back door of your unit and talk to you or whatever, or worse. So that's his big thing. The other units that are out there is Icosel and Peppy is his sidekick, and they have so Mike's is called the IQ. This is like an IQ6 because it's got the 6 battery capacitors on the outside, and Cosell and Peppy, they got the Q6 and Q24s and Q144s. Then that's the Q stands for quantum, and the number stands for the number of battery capacitors. And all 3 units have a different battery capacitor made differently and wired differently. Like Keshe's is different from Cosell's, and it's different from Mike Nashif's. So there's a wide variety in how you wire these things up. They're basically the same, but they connect the wires different and have a little bit different cores or whatever. So on this design, normally you'd put a ping pong ball or something in the center with a Gans water or Gans in it. And last night, laying in bed, I came up with the idea: why don't I put some smaller balls and make them in a starship formation and put them inside? So
you got different kinds of GANs in those balls, or
I haven't actually GANs these yet. I'm going to put different kinds. I'll probably just go the CH3, CO2 zinc, and CU, and haven't decided on the top 2 balls yet.
Interesting. Yeah.
Might put a couple drops of lead in the top 2 balls, just trying to get a flow going down or something. So I'll end up with a starship formation with these big guys, but inside each of these is going to be another starship formation. So
holy cow!
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you might want to raise your roof a little.
Plug it in outside.
Well,
Yeah,
well, I haven't had to do anything yet, so let's see.
that's
Anyway,
interesting. Well, I guess it's a good time to invest in the hot glue industry. This at
that's
this
right.
rate. Nice. All right, thanks, Lee. Anything else to report there, or is that? It looks like a lot of work for 1 week.
Actually, these guys are pretty easy to make. They probably take about a third of the time as the Keshe ones. That's one of the
Is
reasons
that
I like
right? Mm-hmm.
doing these. The other thing is you're using ash water with this for your nano coating cans. Actually, I've nano coated all these wires in the NaOH, and then I've just nano coat the whole coil of, like my raw wire, and then I use it for whatever. And then later you dip it in wood ash just to make sure everything is nano coated.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you don't have to make gants. Well, I guess you do for inside the balls. You need the gant splitter, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, if you're a green guy starting out building Keshe ones, you gotta learn how to make gants, and then you gotta learn how to nano coat, and then you gotta actually build the thing and stuff. So it takes maybe a month to build your first unit, but with these designs, you can get it done quicker if you're in a rush. It's one of
I
the main
see.
reasons I like them. I'm not sure they're better, to be honest, but time will tell. I guess we'll just keep playing with these for a while and see what happens. Eventually,
Mm-hmm.
two of these are going over to my mom and dad. Uh, they want something with some better security in it, so I'm
I
gonna give
see.
them two of these and go from there.
Cool. Well, that's great. Thank you, Lee. That's interesting. It's always good to have some sort of competition in the marketplace, you might say. So I think
Yeah.
that's a really good feature in that way.
Well,
So
I'm really looking forward to this generator thing Keshe's got. I'm
yeah. Just
just
to let people know, it's this the latest word is, and we'll hear more about that on Thursday's workshop coming up on the 23rd of June.
yeah.
Um, about the self-powered. It's called a generator rather than a maggrav energy unit.
Yeah,
So,
it sounds like it still might be something for the house, and you got to use your refrigerator. But I'm hoping it's a real standalone unit. Then I can be great for out in the construction sites versus my background.
oh yeah,
Get rid of those diesel generators and the
oh
stinky
yeah,
diesel fuel and all that.
oh
That'd be
no
great.
kidding. Yeah, all
Uh,
the
so
hazards and so on of that.
yeah,
That would be
so
excellent. Well, they do actually predict that household appliances will all be self-powered within 5 years. So this is what's in the background as pressure at this point, basically. So
mm,
there will be self-powered everything. I mean, some of the equipment you have nowadays, you don't even need to have generators around. They have fuel-powered drills and other types of handheld tools and that sort of thing. So it's a whole new world we're entering into. Alrighty. Okay, thanks, Lee. Let's move along. Who else has something they'd like to offer here?
Well, I got a few things. How you doing, guys?
Good. Is that Stefan?
Yes, it is. Yes, nice talking to you, Rick. What's
Okay,
up,
let me
Stefan?
spotlight your video here.
Yeah, well, yeah, I got a few things to share with you guys. I'm sure you're gonna enjoy,
All right, great.
and
Thank you.
maybe some capacitor tips to help you guys out, just to figure out because I worked so hard on it. So
Right
I got
on. Love to
I
pick your
got
brain.
a lot of information to share. Let's start with something really, really, really helpful. Let's see what I got here. I call them the tube cells. Let's go right off the bat with this experiment. So I got this little flashlight with I put 10 tube cells on it because I just threw them on because that's what I had. I think that it's going to work with probably one or two. But right now, I'm sustaining this flashlight, and I've been for 15 days right now. So it's not the most powerful one, but it's still decent. And I haven't lost power. I haven't checked the last 3 days, but I could put the multimeter on it and see if it's at still 2.55. You missed that.
So you're saying it was on constant during that time? Is that
Yes,
the light was
open
on?
24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I actually did these tests in the beginning, and that's why I continued, because the capacitor cells were so efficient. It worked, long story short, and it still does. But now it really works, dudes. These cells don't burn out, don't dry out, they actually dry out, but still work. They still give me voltage when they're dried out. So I kind of solved the problem. I actually managed to do like, I think it was like 46 in one day. And that was like my first attempt at it. So no more like weeks on end of work, you know. A lot of advancement just with that, guys. I mean, no joke here. Come up with many types of coils. Call them.
So can you tell us how you built those battery capacitors?
Yes, I can share that with you. It's the same type of systems that I did with this one. They call it the Tesla magnetical. This is like a Tesla configuration. You got a coil there, and it jumps to this one clockwise. Coil there jumps to this one counterclockwise. We got a tube with a single coil inside. I got 3 different configurations I could do with GANs filled. Same thing with the little model here. I've got a Fibonacci coil that I call, which is a Fibonacci sequence. And the last sequence, which is the longest, is on the exterior. So you can't really see inside, but it's the Fibonacci sequence with gaps. Like it has 1 turn, it has a gap, and 2 turns has a gap, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. I got this little puppy I did today. I just started to have fun with these. This is a single wire, a 6-sided tube. And it has actually also a little system inside, which is something that looks like this. I'm shaking here.
Calm down.
I'm nervous, yeah. I got so many things that I work on. And yeah. Got this little one too, which is cute. I did today. I got the carousel, but the new version, which is, it's not finished right now, but it's gonna be very advanced and very powerful. These are all plugged. It's not finished. So in these, the coils where you see where there's GANs there, these are capacitors on top of the tube. With the carousel set up inside the tube, where now there's no GANs, but I'll fill it up after. It's going to have wires on each for capacitors. Originally, they go in the center, and they all join to the center. But right now, I'm thinking about making maybe a sphere, because there's so many possibilities with these. It's quite surprising. And what ends up happening is they're all in parallel, so it's amperage. Doesn't really give much voltage because I only go with single layers right now, because there's a lot of work to do. And but yeah, it's kind of limitless in a certain way. When you build a lot of these, you could build generators pretty easily. Well, considering, you know what I mean. So Yeah, that's what I had presented in the 98 workshops. That was, but this is a more advanced version of it, which is not finished, like I said, but just question of work. Like the Tesla magneticals look more like this now, because the other ones were just prototype of just that invented it or came up with it or whatever. So it is very cool. Okay, I know how to test stuff to have results right away with the McGrath, with the car battery and inverter, and I know the protocol, and I know where people make mistakes and give up. I figured it out. So basically, when you want to test out a system on a 12-volt battery, the first thing you got to do is not plug anything on it and just give yourself a benchmark. Because if you don't do that, then you're going to plug the system on it. You're going to measure how much loss you get every 10 minutes or an hour or whatever. Then you'll take it off, but it's still going to give you the same results. It continues working. And you got to recharge the battery that's going to reset it to its default. But if you don't recharge it, it's going to act as if this was still on it. You're going to have like 66% savings. I get 66% savings on McGraths, on this, and on the, what I call the Trinity cup. The Trinity cup is really like not expensive to build at all. So let's go back to the tube cells. Very easy to build, guys. Like, my God, is this easy to build? I mean, I do this with my hands, and I don't even get my hands gansed. So let me put this on the table. So it's just a tube, right? Two little coils running parallel to each other. I use aluminum and copper, or else you need a field difference between the metals you use, or else it will not work really. So you see on this side, I got aluminum, and inside it's a little coil that just runs on the side of the cell. Very little coils. Let's see if we something like this. What I do is I just bend the end, and I use it like a little hook, and then I slide it in the tube like this, and I just put it in. I clamp it over, and then I clamp it with the pliers, you know. Put that like that. You can use the pliers, but I put one aluminum. I have one here. Thank the Lord. Let's bend it on the other side. I'm going to share with you even the capacitor side of this. I always share my stuff, and that's what I'm going to do. It's crazy. Crazy simple and crazy powerful. Once you start building with cells and capacitors, that's when you really get to see the plasma. Okay, so I do the same thing with the aluminum. I make sure they don't touch inside. I clamp them well. What I do, I take a little scuff towel. I just it's so easy. You just make a little ball. It's the most practical thing. Make a little ball, and then you just glue it with the hot glue one side. Really doesn't take a genius to do this. A little glue. Then you fill it up. I mean, you fill it up, and it's fun to fill up. You're like, wow, what is this? You do the same thing. And then you put your glue Then the other part is the craziest part. The other part is I tape the aluminum side to the tube to create a capacitor. That's going to be my core of my capacitor. So I use the aluminum and I tape it over. So now I got a core of a capacitor. Then I just do, the secret of the capacitor is just this. In this case, I did this. I built myself a core. It's a perfect. I usually leave the wire real straight of the aluminum, so there's no real bumps or anything. Take a little piece of Scott towel. The trick is this: no more than 1/3 turn and a quarter. Not a turn and a half, not a turn and a quarter, just even a bit below a quarter. And then I put it on and I put a little piece of aluminum tape just to hold it there. So, a little piece of little tape. And then I do the same thing with the parchemin paper. I'm actually not even using the white one. I actually never used the white one just because it didn't have it and I didn't even know at the time. So I used like the more transparent one. I put this here just to hold it. I paint it with a thick Gans. I make sure, that it's not really a Scott towel anymore. It's mummified big time. It's not just Gans water. Gans water won't have the same effect. I needed a bit of Gans in my cup of life for it to work. Not much, but as a little bit, so keep that in mind. So the Gans, this puppy, we put the same thing with the parchemin paper over it. Now, are you guys still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay.
Yeah, you bet. We're here just glued to the screen, I think.
Yes, I understand. And so,
I appreciate it, Stephane. Thank you.
my pleasure, dude. So, same thing here. So you end up with kind of 3-in-1 situation. You got on one side your aluminum that you could connect, and your copper on the other side, which gives you a cell. You could take the aluminum side of the wire, which is your center core of the capacitor, then your exterior wire, because you got to wrap a wire around it, and that will be your capacitor. Or you could just use a cell and re-loop the capacitor on the cell, and it'll actually work. So once you got this, you got multiple use off the bat, So if you just want to make capacitors, you don't need to put anything in it, really. But there's still tests to be done just how to use them in different ways, but they work really well. And when they're done at this size, so far they've been working for about 2-3 weeks. No problem with them whatsoever. Just depends of your construction. Make sure you build it well. And the aluminum wire, the problem is that breaks pretty easily. It's pretty flimsy. So the idea would be to get a bigger aluminum wire that would solve the problem. I just double it sometimes, but it's a bit hard to make the coil when it's double. So a little touchy, But 1 turn and a quarter for the Scott towel, 1 turn and a quarter for the wax paper is a solution for that. Now, capacitor usually loses its voltage, but my experience, since I always needed to put a capacitor for my test on the 12-volt battery, I've come to know how it functions and what to expect. If you do it the right thickness, like I say, you're going to end up plugging positive to positive on your battery, and you're going to have your voltage coming out, but you're not going to have a spark when you put the wires together, so you're okay to put any device on it. And you actually usually get about maybe a volt of loss, so that's where it gets a bit touchy with the system. But at a volt, it's like at its close to its maximum, let's say. That's where I get success off of it. So the voltage doesn't really matter. If it goes down too low, if you only get a return of like 7 volts or 10 volts, if you got a loss of 2.5, then your capacitor is not really good enough to place on the car unit. So it becomes really touchy, but as soon as you know, like this protocol type of situation, you're going to advance far much better. And with these, well, yeah, this is like, it's hard to put words to, really. And
So what
yeah.
kind of GANs do you put inside, and how do you prepare your GANs? Is it...
yeah, well, it's pretty clean. I just use pure GANs, and when I start like this, because I just built these, and just came up with these, and I always go with pure GANs to see how it goes. And pure GANs is okay; you don't really need anything else. What I recommend your own recipe.
Do you mean pure, the 3 kinds of GANs, the 3 usual kinds?
Well, I could sometimes I use the CO2, sometimes I use the CuO, sometimes I use the CH3.
Okay.
Pretty much all the same.
But
all the same
use them singly, though. You don't mix them together. Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes I mix them together. You know,
Okay.
I do. Yeah, and pretty much the same result. Sometimes I put crystal powder. Right now, we're at that stage where this is perfect to discover all the properties of the Ganses, because you could wear it and you feel the effect, and they're pretty powerful. So this is multiple tools in one, and I'm pushing it out there. I want people to build them because they're so practical and so easy. And now we'll be able to have more results, because as soon as you start building them, you make different recipes. You start doing your food GANs. You can create separations. Use 2 types of GANs, which I've done. You could do a lot of separations, but it's tricky. So, but there's not. That's where I'm going. I mean, these are easy to innovate for me. So
It's a great idea. I like it. I like the transparent function as well, so you can see what's going on in there, and you know,
yes,
it's
yes,
quite
yes.
interesting. I'm sure you must have some strange concoction. You can tell whether it's wet or dry, or you know how the reaction might be going and so on. So it's really cool way to visualize.
Yes, and they seem to be all dry. And you'll see. I'll
Is that
plug
right?
one on.
You fill them with the distilled water and GANs is what you use, right? Do you have any? Is there any caustic involved, or is it totally flushed out in your GANs?
Pretty much flushed out. You know, I clean it maybe twice. I don't go for the 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
I clean my GANs about twice.
So it might have a bit of salt. It might have a bit of salt left in it, perhaps?
Oh, not much, because I don't use much salt when I do my Ganses. I don't do like half a cups like the guys do. I do like barely the bottom of the cup. I really don't use much salt when I do my Ganses to start off.
Okay.
So, and I use big bowls, so there's a lot of water in it. So by the time I end up just refilling that bowl once and twice, the way I see it, there's not much salt left in it. And when there is salt, I would see it pop out of the cell. Let's look closely. There's nothing popping out of this one, so I know my GANs is pretty clean. Right. I would see salt pop popping out if there's
Yeah,
salt.
that's probably true. But you say it actually dries up, through the tube and the hot glue, in spite of it being a good seal and so on. Is there any air gaps in there, or is it totally sealed?
It's totally sealed,
Mm-hmm.
and they function just as good. Now this has lost 0.02 in 2 weeks. 0.02. This was at 2.56 3 days after I plugged it. And then when I plugged it, I didn't even check it. So but then I said, I might as well check it. I knew it was going to work. It's not the first time I do this. So anyways, right now I'm at 15 days, and yeah, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
How many would be in series to get that 2.54?
Well, keep in mind there's rechargeable on the flashlight. I'm sustaining it. I'm not.
Oh, okay,
producing.
I see. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I do light up LED lights with 10 in series, none in parallel. So that means, well, right now I estimate 30 millivolts of power per cell, because when I put 10 in series, the amperage doesn't accumulate. It's only the voltage.
Yeah.
So and it lit up actually 2 LED lights so in series. So, but that would still be 0.5 milliamps needed. So I'm in it. I got it. I did it. It's done. Try it out. You'll see. It's done. It's been done since the beginning, but since the drying up and all that, oh my God, man. So much more people you'd like out there, and he's going to save a lot of pain and heartache. Really. It's like, it's a joke to make them compare. You see this one, the salt popping out. Let's see here. See, this is all salt.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what happens if my GANs, because I had contaminated my GANs with another bowl, and oops. So yeah, when I do these experiments, I go with bare minimum in GANs, so I don't focus too much on my GANs. It's afterwards that I come, and now like I'm more of an artistic part, because I got everything figured out, and so I can more express myself artistically. Because as soon as I did the Trinity cup, and I only had like two coils going in there, not nano coated, and I got results between 50 and 76% savings. So right then and there, I knew that the GANs was doing all the job. Now we come to, yeah.
What is the Trinity cup? You've mentioned that a couple of times.
Well, you see, I have one here for car that I've been working on.
Okay.
It's copper wire with an aluminum wire on top of it to create a difference in potential, and just and to be honest, the number of turns and the size of it doesn't really matter.
It's a nano-coated copper wire, I guess, eh? Yeah.
Those are, yes.
Yeah.
But not the first test, and my benchmark are made on non-coated, on non-nano wire. And I have filmed it. The last 9 hours, proved it not 3 times in a row. Again, Dylan was there, a few people were there. See, this is GANs that's producing on top of the GANs that I had put. This is the GANs of the second cup, because these are double cup.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I just looped them back together because it was just laying around. So I ended up making GANs. Nice GANs. I got something else too. Oh la la! Oh, you're gonna love this one. Okay, so this is a setup of 2. Actually, these are McGraths. I could have put my coils, but these are McGraths. McGrath, and then I put I just lifted this one up to put it on the side, and I did the same thing on top, and the other one's pointing down. This, I want to turn it, but I'm start to install.
That's quite an interesting configuration, yeah.
Yeah, and thanks. And I plugged 5 cells here in series on this side. I plugged five. Well, actually more than that. 8 cells here, 2 in parallel, plus 4. Is that it? Yeah. So 8 in parallel on this side. And then I took my tower cells with my circle cells at 2.5 volts or 3 volts. I plugged the positive on the positive of one coil, negative coming up to a nano-coated wire with Shungite. And I just have the Shungite, meteorite or whatever, in the water. And I'm producing GANs of what seems to be maybe, it looks like CO2 GANs, but you see, and the color there looks like the GANs on my coil, so there is a field transfer. I have to guess there's a field transfer of the GANs that's on the McGraths into the ball, because of the color is kind of obvious, but when I stir it up, it's like white, looks like CO2. I'm no alchemist, you know.
So remind us what the Shungite substance is again.
Yeah, well, the Shungite is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a meteorite. It's people who wear those. It has magnetical properties to carbon, and so it attracts Wi-Fi and absorbs all sorts of energies, which they call negative. So in the sense that people wear it for the Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But it's so it's like a carbon right now, and it seems to be acting like a carbon. And you see, it's turned white on it. It wasn't like that. This is salt. Plus, look at the blue. Oh, wait, sorry. Look at the blueness on it. There's salt and the blue on top of it. Like, that's not supposed to be there. That appeared. That's from the coils to this, because, well, I can't explain it.
Well, if that's some salt on your copper wire there, then it might produce that reaction.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, with the copper, an oxide type of situation. But
Yeah.
blue like that, the oxide would be red or orangey, maybe, no?
No, you can definitely get a bluish carbonate of some sort, copper carbonate, I think it is.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Okay,
And
so...
that could happen because of the carbon being there as an electrode, basically. There'll be some sort of flow happening between them.
Cool. So, yeah, I'll be working on understanding more of this and more materials and all that. Well, we got a lot of GANs guys around that are pretty good at that. But yeah, I will advance in my little way there. That's that. I think that's it now. Well, yeah. We could go back in time, but
Well, that's a lot to chew on there already, for sure.
Yeah.
That's great. I was just looking up about the Shungite.
Yes.
And it says it's it comes from a place in Russia, basically, that a deposit and so on. But it is 98% carbon. It's used in medical treatment since the early 18th century. Peter the Great set up Russia's first spa in Karelia to make use of the water purifying properties of Shungite, which he had himself experienced. He also instigated its use in providing purified water for the Russian army. The antibacterial properties of Shungite have been confirmed by modern testing. So interesting, yeah.
Nice article.
It's also used for pigment for paint as carbon black.
Oh, okay.
So
That's interesting also, huh?
yes, because they always go for the blackest black for those kinds of substances. In other words, something that is absorbs all of the fields, the full spectrum of all the fields, right? So
Yes.
that's cool. It's
Okay.
even probably more black than the copper oxide, perhaps, in that sense.
Fantastic. Fantastic. It's a good direction for what we're doing. That's cool. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember running across this before and having it. That's very interesting. I think it wasn't it because they. I thought it was because they thought it was what do you call it? Asteroid that had come in and actually hit the Earth there, and that's where it came from.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
That's
That's
the
like,
theory, anyway. There's a few different theories. That's the one of the latest ones. All right.
well, nice talking to you.
Well,
Nice sharing. I'm glad
thank you
that
very much. Thank you very much. And anything new that you come up with, and or anything you want to discuss in detail, just come on into this plasma group here, and you're more than welcome. Thank you, Stephane.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. I will be back. I'll stick. I'll be here.
Great.
Okay, I'll let you guys continue. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
See you soon.
All right. Who has something else to bring up here? Show and tell day.
Hey,
Any?
Rick, this is Denny.
Oh, hi, Denny. Good to hear from you. How are you doing?
Doing good. I'm afraid to show what I'm going to show.
Well, fear is okay here. We can help you through your fear if you want to
Okay,
show it.
well, if you allow me to show it, I'll show it.
Okay, I'm brave. Go ahead, Denny.
It's simple. Let me see. I'll share screen and then I'll go to this here. Let me get this away for a minute. Oops. Okay. So this little thing here is I was doing some research on a Metatron 2D cube, Metatron cube, and also the what is that called? The vector equilibrium. And I found this little thing here, and an artist had made a 3D print. This in here is made out of plastic, but you can buy some that are made out of brass as well, and 24 karat gold coated.
Is that in
And
Shapeways? Is that where that's from, maybe?
yes, that is.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
And I can show where that came from too. And so I looked at that, and of course it had, as I studied it out, I bought one. As I studied it out, it had a magnetical and it had a gravitational. And you see there's 4 hoops around here. Well, of course, he's got the advantages of 3D printing, and so his hoops all meld together. But if I was to make that, and so now I'm getting all my parts to make it. So let me see if I have to make this bigger. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can. So I got to be able to work with my hands to do this. And so these hoops, let me see if I can put my pencil up here. These hoops here, I instead put them out on the outside, and I didn't want to draw everything. And so then I turn them into, instead of calling them paint pins, I call them plasma pins. And so this here is one of these, and they have a magnetical and gravitational part. And the reason why I separated them was because I wanted to rotate them. And first, I mean, I have to rotate them on the same axis. And so I was going to rotate the inside ball, and I was going to rotate the little plasma pinballs on the as well. But now I've just said I don't want to work that hard, and I'll just rotate the outside. And I'm not going to put a motor on it. I'm just going to crank it. And so it's fairly large. This right here is a grounding rod, 3/4 inch by, well, this is going to be about 6 foot. It's going to be about 5 foot, because I was trying to do all this 9 stuff and I got carried away with that. So, yeah.
Does that rod go vertical? We're seeing your numbers sideways and everything. I'm wondering.
As I started out drawing a drawing like that.
Okay.
And of course, if I do it and I put 4 of them together, one of them has to go. One of them has to point down while the other ones get to point toward the center. So if I do a star formation, and basically I'm doing a glorified plasma pin. So these would all rotate around. I'll show you this in a moment on a video, but I wanted to show this little drawing because I haven't got all my parts here to make it. So everything will be like this will be made out of 4 gauge. So I got my 4 gauge coming. So it can be strong enough so it doesn't get flimsy. And each one of these there's 12 of these on the outside, but I eliminate 2 of them in a way because I have to put a spear through the axis. I mean, the axis goes through 2 of them, so I can rotate it. So I end up with 10, and there's 12 here on the outside, and I mean on the inside as well, so that then I can adjust it, and I will show the video of it. And so this is quite the undertaking because everything is going to be double coiled and actually with a single wire going through it. And how I connect these is there's a couple of ways how I connect these joints together. I don't have the advantage of melding them all together, so they have to kind of lap over one another. And so there's 4 hoops involved with every one of these, the little ones as well as the big ones, and even the ones that are inside here have 4 hoops, and these little ones inside. And I didn't draw it all out because I just wanted to concept it. And so this right here just represents the whole thing all the way around. This represents every one of these pins. This right here is all nano-coated all the way around. And so this thing's nano-coated from top to end, except maybe not from here and here because I got to put a crank on it. So this right here is a bearing, so I can turn it. So these guys are going to end up staying stationary. I'm only going to use one. This one right here was set up with 3 shafts. I would rotate, and then I was going to, at that particular time, thinking about, just a minute here, I got to move something in order to move my screen up and down. Maybe I can, I can't, just a minute. Maybe I'll do this. Yeah, there I go. So at this time I was going to spin this around, and then I was going to spin this around, and it was going to be sitting on this platform here. But I changed that because I didn't want to have to go to all that work, and I didn't have any idea what it was going to do in the first place. I don't know.
That's my
I
question, Denny. What did you expect this to do? Is this for is it a giant health unit, or is it something you expect that it might fly, for example?
Well, here's what I expected. I expected that whatever I put in the center of these whether it would be some kind of crystal or some kind of special stone that would be all, ball shaped. Then I got to thinking about if I was to make those diamonds things that Mr. Keshe was talking about, if I could learn how to do that, maybe I'd put the crystal communicators in there. So what I'm after is I'm after the health, I'm after the food, and I'm after the lift. But I'm really so these right here, this would be pointing to the center of another one. So I think just one is limiting. I need to have at least two so that I have a field in between them. And then I'm expecting maybe something strange to happen. Maybe I'll be able to make a Ghostbuster machine. This I'm also thinking, well, what kind of materials will I be able to make? So I don't really want to stand in front of this, and I don't want to point it at my neighbor's house. I want to do this out in the field somewhere.
So let me get this straight. First, you're going to create ghosts with it, and then you're going to bust them, eh? So it's sort of a self-generating work project. Like it's cool. I love it.
And so hopefully I'll never have to make it. but the trouble is I'm getting all the parts for it, and I'll have them all here, but I don't have the stones or the so I may end up putting some kind of GANS water mixture or whatever in the center of these. And so when this spins around, so let me just get out of the screen share and stop share. I might have to adjust my video here for a minute. Okay, I don't know where I am. So I pinned my video, don't I? Okay. Okay, so I may have to, there's this little thing that I bought. I'm holding it straight. So
and that's out of plastic? Is that the one you have there?
This is a plastic.
Wow, it's nicely
I'll move
detailed.
my camera. Maybe we can get, I may have to put a white background here. Maybe not. Okay, that
it's not
gives
too
me.
bad. It's a little fuzzy, but I think it's just.
Well, I think of it is because I'm hanging on to the camera with my hand, and so you've got this vector equilibrium effect. Oh, and I bought this other one too. It's even crazier.
Oh, nice.
It's 24 karat gold.
I can't help myself. Those are amazing. Congratulations. Your design is going to be fantastic.
Yeah. And so I'm hoping somebody knows how to make these things smaller than I'm making them. Because that's what I'm making is fairly large. And I looked at how I could make it, and I don't think I'm nimble enough to make it smaller. Because now these right here probably have some kind of, if it was made out of copper and nano coated, probably it'd have some kind of strength to it. So if it was he's got one that he makes out of brass. I could go to his site and do that in a minute. Let me see if I can't get this positioned where I don't have to hold it.
What is the gold-plated one made out of?
It's made out of steel and 24 karat gold.
Just a regular steel, iron steel, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I made a mistake of, let me see, I can't seem to get myself aligned here. Maybe, so I can get this all on the screen. What's going on here?
It looks too close or something, and we're seeing just the...
Okay,
there, we can see them both now.
So, so there's a 4. Maybe we can see it better if I bring this to it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a 4 and 4. So it's kind of like a vector equilibrium, where you got a triangle and then you got a square and you got a triangle. So I'm taking this where it sits on the triangle, and I'm just tipping it on one of them and running the axle through one of them. And so when I spin it, goodbye, I'm going back to my regular stand. When I spin it, you see, I then will, you can see how it'll spin. It'll spin on this axis here, and it'll just bring these around as you see it. So that's all I'm doing. And the center will stay stationary on the outside. So all I have, what I'm using it for is to adjust the different strength, the plasma strength from magnetical to gravitational. That was the concept. This thing here, I took this and I nano-coated it, this plastic thing, and I wanted to get some GANs on it, so I put it in a CO2 GANs kit that I had, and so that I would GANs it at the same time. And I thought, well, that would be a good idea to do with this thing. Maybe I could, so I nano-coated it as best I could. You know, I put it in AOH into the lye, and then I put it into a plastic sack and set it in the sun. And then just at the last thought, I said, well, I want to saturate this with CO2 GANs too. And so I have this 5-gallon container where I make my GANs now. It's a great big, holds drinking water in it. And so I put this in there and hung it by a thread. And when I got up the next morning, I had all that gold stuff in my good CO2 GANs, and I pulled it all out. And so whatever that looks like gold in my CO2 GANs came off of this thing. And so somebody wants to figure out what happened there, if that was gold GANs or if it was just something that was gold colored that came off of that 24 karat thing here. I bought this by mistake, and it cost me $58. This in here cost me $23. So let me do. I hope I'm not boring people here because it's so vague back and forth. And here's a curious thing. I put this non-nano coated in this tube, and it's nano coated now. And what I had done with this tube is I sprayed this thing with some GANs on the outside and on the inside, and I had a little clobber shoe thing sitting near it, and I forgot about it. And really I don't know if I'll be able to get this off again, but I can always put it back on. I really had the outside sitting by itself. I mean, the inside sitting by itself, and it nano-coated that thing. And I'm wondering how that happened. This thing here just was sitting on the table, and this was just laying there. And so that's strange to me. And so let me get off of this video and do another share screen. Okay, let me see, what do I have here that I can I got the grounding rod, but let me just put this one here too, just for the fun of it. So this was a thing that Mr. Keshe talked about last Thursday. You put your GANs of zinc on one side of your thing and the GANs of CO2 on the other side, and you've got a plasma. And let me see, is this the one I was talking about? This is the one I'm talking about first. And without the water, boy, that's large. Let's get down to the way I want it. So without water, you should be able to make a diamond if you know how to convert this plasma field into crystallized diamonds. Now, the word convert, I have no idea what that means. But at the same time, he says you can make CO2 GANs from using GANs of zinc on one side and GANs of CO2 on the other side, and your water, and you can make CO2 GANs instead of using a nano-coated copper plate and a zinc plate. You should be able to. So this is what he said you could do. So if anybody's good like that, they can do that. Now let me get out of here for just a moment and try this again and see if I've got my, I got to do something first. I've got to put my Metatron cube stuff up. Let me go back out of screen share. Excuse me, you guys. I can't find if I'm in it or not. I don't know how to, just a minute. I think I've goofed up. Just a minute. Okay, there it is. Now I can do it again. So there's this, okay, now you see that, right?
We will. There we go. We're done.
So this is what I bought. This one here is the black plastic. Now this one here is a brass. And I said, well, if it's brass, then I should be able to nano coat that and set up this system and use the fields that come off of this. And there's the polished gold. This polished gold has steel inside of it, polished gold steel, enrobed in 24 karat, polished them out. So then when I had that in that CO2 GANs, that other one, I wondered if it was using a combination of CH3 and gold that got into my CO2 GANs. So this is where I got this. If anybody wants to know, you just, and the reason I was doing this because I'm looking at that double Merkaba stuff and trying to figure out. So once I saw this one, and of course there's all sorts of things that he makes, and
You can print that in copper too, can't you?
I asked him.
Do they offer copper?
I haven't got a response back from him. I asked him if he could print it in copper or if he could print it in zinc, so that I could have copper, zinc, bronze, and well, I guess this isn't coming up. So I need to stop share here, and oh, there it is. So I'll share it again. Oh, it stopped it. So, oh, there it spins. So that gives you an idea what goes on with that thing. And that's when I got the idea of, of course, not just the idea from that, but the idea from Keshe spinning all the little magravs inside the spheres that he has. Okay. So that's really all I have to talk about. Is if anybody, I was looking at, let me see, participants. I was looking at Stephane's abilities to do things, and I thought, well, I wished I had the same abilities that he had, and the knowledge of what he has, because those hoops could be made out of anything. And right now, I'm just making them out of 4-gauge nano-coated wire, just for the strength of the hoop, and then I'm putting double coils around for the magnetical and gravitational effect. And these right here these right here probably won't be made out of 4-gauge, and these here might, but the main hoop will be. So, and how I how I'm going to hook these. Get out of here for a minute. I'm wasting your time there.
No,
Oh my
it's
God.
good. Thanks.
I can help you on that big time. I could show you how to do that in a single wire.
Okay, let me stop and let you take over.
Uh,
Unless you just let me pull this back up and then you can annotate on it.
I'm ready. I got it. I got a device.
Can you
that I-
show us how to do it in live real time? You mean like right now? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be
Well,
cool.
no, it's going to take a few minutes just to
Mhm.
so you understand the concept. Yes.
Sure, that'd be great.
Because
Because
I'm working on other things, and this stuff here is kind of a distraction because it's essentially it's antiquated before I make it, and
Well, it's a good mental exercise actually, and this whole idea of a rotating structure. I mean, yeah, let's put it this way: 2 or 3 days ago, scientists have just discovered gravitational waves, almost pretty near for sure. And what this means is every according to the scientist that was describing this, every rotating object has gravitational waves that are given off by it. And he says even if you wave your arms around over your head, that gives off gravitational waves. He's suddenly declaring. I went, holy frig! This is amazing. We have mainstream scientists now telling us that every rotating object puts out gravitational waves. And this is, precisely what Keshe has been telling us, and the thing that's so hard to measure and so on, how we measure the gravitational. And now they're just starting to be able to measure it, but only for really big stuff like black holes that are rotating and that kind of thing. But it's only a matter of time before the instruments.
I don't want to
become
be making a
sensitive.
black hole here.
Well, you never know what you're going to create with such
I don't want to
structure.
stand in front of it, but I want to have at least 3 of these made at some point along, or I might have to disassemble it to keep it from doing something bad. Maybe I'll have to make certain that I can have a removable axis and get that out of there. I had thought of the different kinds of pain pins. Maybe one would be made out of tie wire, instead of copper. One would be made out of another kind of wire. I thought of the different things that would go inside of this stuff.
Well, what came to my mind as well is what if you took your little structures that you bought, and they were your 8 central figures that go in the center of your structure there. Those are your 3-inch spheres.
Yeah, they would go in, and if you could buy them in copper, zinc, and brass, and maybe even the plastic is cheaper. But the thing of it is, when you start counting all these up, there's 24 of those buggers. Actually, there's 20 because I'm going to be wasting these 2.
Right.
I'm going to be wasting these 2.
Well, I meant the inside ones, I guess. The outside ones are bigger, right? There's another thing, but
yeah, they have them in it too. They got you can fit them in there too.
Oh, I see. Right.
And so it depends on what you want to do. And you can, I asked him if he could make them bigger. And he hasn't written back to me because some of them he does make bigger. And so then I thought, wouldn't it be just as easy to put something in there made of GANs, liquid GANs or whatever, and let those fields move around in there. And the reason I want to spin these things because as they spin, they're going to be one directly over the ones that sometimes, and then they're going to be away from them because the inside's going to be stationary. Then as this one rotates, and of course it's going to rotate either way, because if I put a crank on it, because I don't want to put a motor on it, but I might just put a pulley and a motor on this, and a variable speed and reversible, so that you can go one way, and you get sick and tired of that. You can figure out, well, what's it going to do with that? I think it will be it will throw plasma everywhere, and I don't know whether I have to get behind a lead wall to protect myself.
Just have a 20-foot crank on it. I wouldn't touch that thing with a 10-foot rod, but a 20-foot rod maybe.
And so what this is, there'll be a stand that, and I even make it out of copper tubing, that will go on this here, so that, there'll be a stand that holds this bearing here. This isn't a very good drawing, but just so that you can know that there'd be a stand. And of course, it'll be supported so that it doesn't, I don't know if I'll tack it down, because if it flies away, I'm going to run. I'm not going to admit that it's mine.
Right.
And so,
Now that you've broadcast it to the world, that okay.
Yeah, it's still, they know. Okay, what is this? Can I still move this? So this thing might act as a flight system in itself, by itself, because these may act as by changing the movement of putting these out of alignment with one another, it can change the effect of the plasma that's coming off of this. And of course, the plasma that's coming outside of it too. So if I've spun it real fast, then I don't know what's going to happen. That's why I put a crank on it at first. Thankfully, I may never get it made.
Thankfully for the human race, Denny's a little slow with getting these cranked out, so to speak. Well, it's great though.
So,
it's a good mind experiment, and it's interesting to envision what this.
Well, the reason I'm throwing it out there, because somebody with a brighter mind, or more experience, or just plain more creative, can take this idea and manipulate it in a way where it's workable for something else. I'm more apt to one of the things I'm doing is one of the things that Mr. Keshe said is the very container that you make your GANs in is imbued with the plasma. And so I got some containers that I've imbued with the plasma of the different GANSs, and I'm checking those out. Then I said, well, if that's the case, I can put something in my CO2 kits that I make as the CO2 is being produced, and I can imbue that with plasma. So then I thought, well, how about putting one of these hippie beaded curtains into my my CO2 kit and my zinc, and then imbue those beads with the plasma, and then I can just hang my curtain and my beads around, and I can play in those. I can play in those beads like a clownfish plays in the sea anemones and stuff. Yeah. And so I could just slip inside there and meditate. I could slip inside there and get my food. I can slip inside there and get my health. And the thing that I'm trying to do in all of this is to awaken my own faculties in my body and my soul and my emotions, so that I don't have to do any of this stuff. And so the first thing I'm trying to do is awaken my faculties so that I don't have to do this.
I think it's brilliant. It's like you could have a portable bead plasma chamber, basically, that would be a bead curtain that you have a little maybe frame that could pop up, and this bead curtain goes around, and that's your chamber.
Yeah, you go in there and hide.
Yeah.
Only you would be able to go in there. You're like the clownfish, because those tentacles of that thing would sting anybody else.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, it's
No,
great. It's great.
I'm just joking, because that's what the
Well,
clownfish. He goes out there and he gets stung by those tentacles.
did
until
you
he's-
see the picture recently of the fish that was enclosed inside of a jellyfish, and it was still alive, and it was able to still swim somewhat because its tail was still able to wiggle, and so it was basically pushing this jellyfish around, but it was enclosed, totally enclosed inside the jellyfish.
It's like one of those balls that people get inside and bounce around.
Yeah.
And play.
But
But,
this is a new idea, though, the idea that it doesn't have to be an enclosed chamber, like a physical, a plastic, film or something, or a wall or anything. It can be beads. And
Yeah,
it's
that's what
it's
I'm.
a
That's what.
plasmatic chamber. And the beads themselves, imagine what they could be made out of, all kinds of exotic
Yeah,
things.
they're all kind of exotic things, and of course they have a north and south pole
Mm-hmm.
because they have the string is running through them,
Right. And it's
and
a
so that's
series,
why.
it's like a series of magnets or poles that could add to each other, like a electrical circuit adds in series, perhaps.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And so then the other thing was that I don't have a bathtub, so I bought this portable bathtub made of plastic, and I didn't. I wanted to, and I haven't done it yet because I haven't got my GANS water in my position. But I'm going to fill up the place where you put the air, because there's three chambers
Mm.
that the air comes in. They got 3 air chambers, and so they got like a ball. Air chamber there, and an air chamber there, and an air chamber there, and that holds the plastic bathtub up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was going to fill up the one chamber with a certain kind of GANs, and the other chamber with a certain kind of GANs, and then the other chamber. That way, I don't have to get wet to get the fields. Otherwise, I would have filled it up with plasma water. And so, but now I can just jump in there with my clothes on and bathe in the plasma fields.
Huh.
But this is simpler. but since this is the idea I had, so I bought it. And so now, what GANs would you put on the bottom? Which GANs would you put in the middle, and which GANs would you put on the top?
And you would be sitting in this. Is that the idea? So your
Yeah,
chest,
yeah,
your
I'd
head,
be sitting in there. I could play checkers in there with a friend.
would your head be above the tub still?
I can do anything I want. I can
I
go in there
suppose.
and get in a fetal position if
You
I
can
wanted.
dive to the bottom quite easily and hang out there.
There's nothing in there but plasma fields.
Right. Well, that's the thing.
All the water is out here where that holds it up.
Well, that's what
Holds-
I'm thinking. You may not want to have your head beside the lead. Lead.
No, I ain't gonna put lead in
Unless
there.
you want lead head.
You guys crazy? I hide behind lead to keep things from getting me.
Exactly. So, well, obviously the CO2 GANs is always a good all-around affectionate kind of GANs.
Okay, if I put CO, but I don't put very much of that. Would that be at the bottom? I put CO2, and then I'd put. Of course, I don't know really how to make zinc GANs. Do you guys know how to make zinc GANs so that you know that it's zinc GANs?
I think most of the GANs we get is zinc instead of the CO2, but I think it's easier to say. The better question is how do you get the CO2 GANs rather than the zinc GANs?
Okay, well, here's what Mr. Keshe says you can tell. If once you're drinking the liquid plasma, if you're go into deep thought, you have your CO2. If you're feeling peaceful, you've got your zinc.
And if you're feeling peaceful and in deep thought, then
you got a mixture.
You got a mixture. I I get it.
Well, I
Okay.
won't. That's what I want. I want to be able to go into deep thought. That's why I'd hide it in here for a while, so
Yeah.
that I can stimulate my faculties to realize that I can do what the fellow in Africa did. He could create GANs just with his intention, and
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
and Mr. Keshe talked about that's how you're going to make your spaceship. But you over in America and I'm over in America, you got strikes against you because of your upbringing and your RNA memory. So I got to restructure my RNA by swimming through these hippie bead thing and laying in this. So I imagine since I have CH3 and it's basically the weaker GANs. It'd be great if this thing had a compartment where but it goes all the way around. You see, it goes all the way around. The air goes all the way around, and it'd be great if I could have different ones on each side. But I have them on as it goes all the way around.
Well, you could hang packets on it or something, I suppose.
Yeah, I
Auxiliary
could.
packets.
Then let me see. Do you guys know how to nano coat zinc?
Well, you just use the caustic process. We'll
Very
nano-coat it.
carefully. Don't put it in hot caustic. It'll disappear in about 5 minutes. Just the caustic vapor.
Okay, if I've got a great big coil of chicken wire, I have not put up a fence. I've naturally aged it, and I want to nano coat that so I can put this zinc structure. If I I can make a chicken pen or make a little house, and same thing, the same process as the beads. It's the nano coated zinc wire, the chicken wire, going around a structure, and using that as a point of taking out all my aggressions.
If you use chicken wire, you're also going to have fields of iron and silicone and a little bit of sulfur because there's steel inside.
Yeah.
And the nano coating or the zinc coating, the galvanizing that's on the wire is incredibly thin. It may not survive the nano coating process.
Now you have to put it in I think I'll have to put it in a like a 50-gallon plastic barrel, roll it up, put it in a barrel, and only put a little bit of steam GANs and let that thing age with the heat.
Yeah, well, I tried I've got pure zinc plate here, and I tried nano coating some of that, and it disappeared in about 4 hours. So zinc and caustic don't get along very well.
Well, another thing I could possibly do, I could nano coat the plastic, with caustic, and then take the caustic out of the barrel. I got a 50-gallon plastic barrel, and that my wire would fit in. I would roll up the wire, and I put a roll of chicken wire in there. About, what is it? It'd be about 3-foot chicken wire that would fit in a 50-gallon plastic barrel. Then take the caustic out, and it's still going to have caustic residue all around the barrel. I could swish it in there, and then I could just let that chicken wire age in that barrel. Anyhow, I don't know why I'm going into that. This is the thing here. Rick, which GANs would you put in each layer here if you were to do this? Of the GANs as we have, would you put the CH3 on the top, the CO2 in the middle, and the weak copper solution down here at the bottom, or not even any copper at all?
Well, that's a good question. I think I tend to keep away from the copper for some reason.
Well, what's so
tend to
nice
not
about
wanna
the
use
copper is that keep away from the copper GANs. I could hang a plate, just a nano-coated copper plate somewhere for the experience of the copper where it's not so strong. or I could have it on the outside of this situation.
So the idea there would be to create a gradient, I guess, so you get some sort of rotation of fields or some sort of pull or gradient type effect. So it makes sense that maybe would you make the top more gravitational, or would you make the bottom more gravitational? If you
this is what
this
is the idea that popped to my
maybe,
head. Because CH3 is so easy to make, it's so easy and quick to make, and you can make a lot of it quick. I would think about putting CH3 at the top and CH3 at the bottom and the CO2 in the middle.
Okay, let me ask this: can this structure be flipped over upside down easily and used the same way?
Well, you'd have to tunnel under it. Because
it.
there's a floor here, because it's made like a bathtub. It's a portable bathtub, and its intent is to fill these sides up with air.
Right. I thought you could use it like it may depend on whether you need a draining, something that drains excess energy, or maybe you want to drain a cancer or something like that, as opposed to energizing. So maybe if you could have it one way, it would be draining and could flip the whole structure. The other way would be energizing, for example. Maybe you could make it so you could crawl inside like a little hut inside there with the floor on top.
The thing of it is, if I would have been smart, I wouldn't have bought it, and I probably would have gotten me some blown up tubes, and then I could have had something different across each other, But since it's,
I think you have a good idea though. What if you took tubes and put them inside or outside the grooves where the existing larger tubes are? You could put like GAN's tubes that ran around outside or inside of the existing tubular structure, for example.
I just got another quick idea, because of course I could put the GAN stuff, and then fill it up with water, and I'd have the fields just saturating the water as well. And I could actually lead my horse to water, and it probably would drink. and so he'd probably drink all my water in my swimming pool. So
or you could fill the tubes with GAN's vapor. That's the latest, is the plasma vapor.
When I fill it up with air, I make certain that I fill it up with the plasma vapor. So that's what's in here, is plasma vapor. So if somebody knew how to do that. So here's what I had planned on doing. I got one of these little spray fertilizer things where you hook your hose on, and you put the gauge on, and you put the material that you want to put on, and then you run your water through here, and it draws out this material at a certain rate. That's what I was going to do: pour the water in and GANs it at the same time, and mix it with this little, so that I would put liquid GANs in here along with GANs itself. And now I'm pretty certain I'll fill this up with, this is going to be the outside. I'm going to fill this up with my water so that I can swim with the bugs. And hopefully I don't get mosquitoes. I'll have to put some kind of whatever. Anyhow, at least it's got a drain on it, so I can drain all of those things. I wasted your time here, Rick. I unloaded on you. It's like I don't have anybody to talk to, so I emptied everything out.
Well, this is our help show, the weekly plasma help show here for those who have a lonely life with their plasma and need to discuss it. No,
so yeah.
Thanks, Denny. It's actually inspirational. I'm sure there's people out there that went, "Oh wow, that's really cool. I'm gonna, build one of these tomorrow or whatever."
Denny, thank you so much. You didn't waste my time at all. I loved it.
There you go.
It was the comedy show. Well, thank you guys for allowing me the time.
Thanks, Danny. Any
Somebody-
questions? Any questions for Danny, or any additions to that particular
Well, you
thing?
can contact me. We have similar designs, so we could help each other out easily.
Yeah, let's. And at first, I got to find out who said that. Where's my petition?
Stephane. This Stephane.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You did all the other presentations. Where do you live? What part of the world?
Montreal, Canada.
Well, that's too far away from me. Until Yellowstone volcano takes off, I can. When it explodes, I can probably get a ride.
Catch the
No,
wave.
but just look at my video, Trinity cells. You'll be able to do the cells relooping on themselves.
Okay, you have a video. You have a YouTube.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And that's called video cells.
Trinity.
It's Trinity
cells.
What is that? Okay.
There's like you could put multiple cells beside each other, all in a single wire.
Yeah, I saw that you were doing that. You had those. Okay. So I'm going to have to write that in. Trinity cells, I'll write that down, and maybe I'll just go to it right now. Somebody get my picture off of there and take over and take charge.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, Stephane, did you want to show something, or?
Well, I can actually show the concept I'm talking about, and it will take 2 minutes.
Go ahead.
Okay, I will try to put my camera doesn't seem to want to activate when I click on it. Is it on my side or your side?
Let me see if I can fix that.
Maybe ask OS to activate the video. It says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Let me see here. There we go. I see it now.
Okay, thank you.
So, Stephane, what's on that? What's your channel name?
It's under my name, Stephane 5.
Okay, that'll do that.
Yeah, so you can add me to Facebook also.
I got off of Facebook because I'm paranoid.
Okay, yes. So this would be an example. This is a coil relooping into itself, quite similar to the inner coil of a McGrath. It's the same principle. And then when the wire comes out, I make another coil, and then I reloop it again, and I send the wire out again. I make another coil, I take the end, I put it back, and I reloop. Each time I reloop it, it makes like a donut. It makes a knot. So you could put as many donuts as you want, and the center core will all be connected. So they'll all be in parallel. And then you can make as many as you want. You can make your device there that you wanted to do. With this, you can make like 27 cells to make a big circle, and then you come hook up the sides, and you do your bars there that you wanted to come down, and you go down to another set like this. But I'll show you the design later on that I came up with, and then you can add your stuff in. But it's quite simple. To be honest with you, it could be done in a day.
Well, mine does. So I can't figure out what you did there, but you got all that practice because you've done it.
Yes, I could. I have videos on it, but I could do it in front of you. It's not very difficult to explain. It's.
Did anybody else have problems following that?
Let me give you an example.
Yeah, we need an example. Thanks.
It's going to be quite easy and very fast. So I just take a piece of a coil here, just unwind myself a bit of wire on it. Okay, so I have a coil, I have a wire. I just turn it in a circle, all right, and I reloop the wire in it. Well, now it's all crooked, so. But you can imagine me relooping the wire in it,
Yeah, I can understand that. It'd be,
and then it comes out the other end. Then
Yeah.
I coil another coil, and I do the same thing again. So you
And
end up doing multiple of them. You need to do the coils with a screwdriver, but still you make a multiple of them, and you end up with this is a single wire here, and it's all three of them linked together.
but you got around that stuff.
It's like a capacitor. I have Scott towel, a turn and a quarter all around. I gans it, and then I put wax paper all around. Turn in a quarter, and then I put the aluminum paper over it, and then I wrap a coil around it.
So if I'm to do this with the format that I just showed, where would I put that?
You could put that one on top, which would have, let's say, 27, and make a big circle.
Yeah.
Any of these all around, like your design, you could put and then you put one on top, and then you wrap a wire around it and let it go down to the ground to the other one on the bottom that's on the ground. Well, actually, you'd make it like just a single wire to turn, and you come hook it up to that one, and then you'd hook it up to the one on the ground. But it's quite an easy. It's nothing very complicated. The design. It's surprisingly easy once you get to understand the concept, because it's just relooping it into itself, and then next thing you know, you got a donut and the wire's coming out of it, and then you coil it again and you reloop the end again on itself, and then you do another one.
This is like a tripod capacitors.
In this particular case, yes, I just made 3, but I could have made 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 27 if I wanted to. Make a big giant circle around the body. So you put one on the ground, big giant circle made of these.
Yeah, again, I'm probably going to be afraid. I'm going to be afraid to step in front of that thing.
Well, the thing is it wouldn't have much. Like just on its own, it would be activated. It would be just activated enough to heal your body, but it won't be that activated. I mean, you got to put a bit more power into it afterwards. You got the amperage there. You got some energy flow. It'll be just enough. You don't have to do 27 of them. You could do 12. You could do different sizes. You could do
I got to figure out how you explained this to me. It's going to take me a little while to think this out. I'm not.
Yes,
I didn't catch it as well as I should have.
Okay. Yes.
My mind's eye. I tell you what.
Yes.
Are you good at going to the white screen and drawing on it?
I could do that if you want right now.
Or I could go to my picture and you can draw on my picture.
Well, yes, but I could draw it so really, really fast. This is an easy drawing. I've done it before. Okay, so we have a coil and we have a long wire. This long wire will end up relooping in this side here. So what that means is we got a coil that's already like in the circle, and then this wire goes in it.
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay, and then you coil another coil.
Okay.
Okay, and you circle, and you reloop it.
Well,
and it comes out again.
I didn't understand that. Now I see that.
Now you coil it. You put it back in, loop out. Then you make a big circle out of all of these. You continue what you are. You make multiple of them, and then you make capacitors out of them. Then you wrap a wire around it, and you go up to the one that's on top. And you build your circle, you're around the body. And then you do the same thing on top. Let me redo the drawing here.
I got 4 of these hoops that I'm putting on that thing. And they got to be sturdy enough to stand some kind of centrifugal force.
Well, have you done these before?
No, I'm a.
These are sturdy. These are very solid.
Okay.
These you don't use the big size of a McGrath. You just use the inner wire of it, the inner coil of it, about that size. You end up with a real solid structure.
So on this thing,
I mean, I could
is
step
there
on these.
is there a
Step on these with my feet, and they wouldn't even crush.
okay? So this is
Honestly, I put my body weight on it. Well, it moves a bit, but not that much, man.
you don't have to do that. you can just tell me. I'll okay. So what we have here is a great big huge capacitor in a series, right?
And in this particular case, these are the center wire of the whole structure, because when you put your paper over it, your Scott towel, and you gauze it, and then you put your wax paper, this goes for all around it, you know. And then you put your aluminum, and then you wrap another wire around it. It becomes a capacitor, but the center core, this wire is always the center core.
Yeah.
The exterior core is always the wire that's going out, like that. So they end up all having a connection. This is one thing that's very powerful.
Wow. How do you get an extra wire coming out? Because that's one continuous wire, isn't it?
Inside, you end up with two ends. You got one end of this donut and one end of this donut. So that's your central wire. And when it comes out of your donut, it's actually your gravitational, because it's inside. It's the wire that's inside that's coming out.
Okay.
So you got a side. Whoops.
That's okay.
I crashed. So anyways, I did it for a long enough. You should.
Well,
Yeah, if
the
I need
wires,
to, I'll go back and relook at it.
Denny,
Yes,
the wires
sorry for
come.
taking so long to explain it.
The way I understand it is the other excess wires come from the outer aluminum foil. They're wrapped around the aluminum foil, correct?
Oh, that's where they came from.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yep. So it's pretty. Thanks for clarifying that, because that made it much easier to see with the drawing there. I like
Yes.
I
My
like
pleasure.
the black. The black background's nice as well. I'm not used to that, and it actually makes it more defined than the white one in a way.
Yeah, I actually just use my desktop, and I just don't put a picture, but I leave it black, and I make sure my icons don't appear, and that's what I use. Because I have problems with Zoom, it doesn't work the other way, but I really like it this way. The white is pretty cool, and when you use a lot of colors, it's very nice.
Yeah, I'll use another one just for the fun of it.
Well, my computer froze.
Oh,
Yeah,
your computer froze. Can you stop your screen share?
Actually, no, but I could reboot my computer.
What we can do, I can do a share, and it will stop the other share. So go ahead, Denny. Do you want to share something?
No. I just I'm having a tough time correlating what he did there to what I'm doing. Is where would I put that ring of fire that he's made?
It would be like for a teleportation device or a health unit. You'd stand in it, and you got one on the floor, and you got one on the ceiling, and you got the exterior wires of the aluminum going down from the ceiling to the floor. So all around you got like wires coming down from each capacitor, which creates a field all around.
Wow. That's it.
And it's actually a very easy setup. It's easier than it sounds, maybe. Sorry for I'm trying to explain it the most simple that I can.
So you can't draw that yet. You're not back on yet, are you?
No, I would need to leave and come back because my computer.
Okay, here's my white screen. You froze, so you can't even get on your computer.
No.
So what you said was that you made this big ring. Is that what you said?
Yes, a multiple. Yes, with multiple.
You're going to make a multiple bunch of rings.
Yes,
And
like my little triangle that I showed before. That's one of them. The exterior part that was going up like a triangle was the wrapping around the aluminum, just like a capacitor. Imagine them; they're all straight. It's just a capacitor.
so I'm gonna put circles here to represent what you did.
I can't even see my screen. Everything's black. So
Okay.
Let me come back in 5 minutes. Let's you guys.
All right. Go ahead. We'll see you. Thanks very much. Rick, get me out of here and I'll let you take charge. Okay. I'm shutting down my volume. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Denny. And well, we'll see when Stephane gets back. Okay, anybody else have something to show in the meantime here? What's new and interesting out in the world, or if you have any questions for anybody or anything, any topics you'd like to bring up, now is the time.
Hello everyone, I can show you my unit. Can you hear me?
Yes, who is that? Is that Alper?
It's Alper from California. How
All
are
right.
you guys?
Great.
Everyone okay? It's good to hear your voices again
Okay.
on
Yeah.
this lovely Tuesday night. It is really exhausting. Like you work, you do things, and then you get up 5 o'clock in the morning in California. And I'd like to go back to my country, Istanbul. Times are going to be different, and it's going to be like sort of European time, and then I can finally synchronize the way I want. But it is good. I mean, I was exhausted today. I slept and I woke up 11 o'clock. I thought, oh my God, I missed it. I missed him now. And then looked at the time, it was time. And then it's really nice to listen to you guys. And when it comes to talking, mostly all my answers is being answered easily every time I listen to these teachings, and it comes to a point where somebody needs to talk. Talking would be like sort of repeating myself. That's how I feel it. So I just be quiet and listen. But this time, the device I made, I'll show you. I'll try to put a camera.
Stephane, we're going to watch a little bit from Alper here. And
Oh no, I can wait. I'm looking forward to listening to him,
No,
and then I
cool.
can join after that. I'll be really happy to.
Thank you.
I just wanted to do is start a drawing without showing it to anybody and just have something going on. But you don't have to accept me. I'll just share my screen, but I'll start a drawing. So maybe later on, if he wants to show it, you just show the drawing real fast and game over in the sense that I don't need to do wasting.
Stefan, take your time. I think you should really explain that, and your drawing was really nice. And if you could, I'd love to hear you a little bit more.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Rick, is it okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay, so I'll redraw it a bit slower. I'll take just a bit more of my time. Let's say, because do I have to redo the whole coil or if I do just circles, you'll understand?
Just circles for me. Anybody else?
So these circles represent the coil I was showing you. The inner core, let's say, okay? So that would be a donut, relooping in itself, the wire coming out, and then doing a coil, and then taking the end of the wire and relooping it into itself. So let me draw that real fast. Alright. So let me just do one. That would be you do a donut, and then you take the end of it and you loop it inside of it. Then you go to the other one, make another donut with the same wire all the time. And then you take the end and just re-loop it inside of it. And then you're working with a long wire, so when you're re-looping it, you're re-looping a really long wire. So you're re-looping it, and it goes in. So we'll do this on each of them. So now this is like the center core of each capacitor. Circle cells, I call them. They're actually cells because they have aluminum. So, and then this wire comes out, you end up with the wire here. And when you started the coil, to do the coil, you had to do that and do the turn, and then, so you got two wires. You got one magnetical, and you got one gravitational. Now, you turn these into cells, so you put your scud towel over it. Put the scud towel like all around it. Whoops, maybe if I start here. Put all scud towel on all of them. And then you gans that scud towel. And you gans it, you mummify it with thick gans, not watery gans, real thick. And then you do the same thing, but this time you got to do it with the wax paper. What color do I take? Maybe a wax paper, wax paper. So over it, and then aluminum paper over it. And then you wrap a coil. Where am I? Wrap a coil around the aluminum, like when you make a capacitor. And then this wire just goes up to the air. You do the same thing everywhere. It goes up to the air. So at the end, you end up with this on the floor, this on top, exterior wire coming down, let's leave a little entrance. Anyway, and here I won't necessarily loop it on this one because I'd make just just a single wire all around, and I take this one and I re-loop it on this one. On this one, they all come down and wrap around this ring, not on that ring, on this one. Your positive out going to this, which is your positive. This, you got a positive out here. And because there's two choices. Either you continue in parallel or you continue in series. So this is the option, I think, for series, and this on here would be the option for parallel. All depends. Both options will work, but is to figure out which one do we want here. Also gravitational, because at the end you could come and pump juice into the center cores of this one with tube cells. Right now, again, I froze. Anyways, with the tube cells, you make a lot of tube cells and you go get yourself some voltage. and some amperage, and you could plug it on it, and then you make sure you don't put too many. And that's pretty much it. I just popped back. Okay. So that's the basic concept we came up with so far. I'm not a great thinker, but because of the facility to build these and having them reloop inside themselves makes them so a big structure. And at the center, it makes it empty. You could always fill it up with GANs, different GANs. So I got the same concept now that I'm working on with tubes. I've made them before. I know it works. It's the same principle, but now I'm using liquid, and my center wire is not connected to my donor. It's another story. We won't get into that right now, but things are advancing very fast on that side. Everything's going on tubes, and that's it. I'm not even sure if you guys are still there. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Interesting.
Know this because this is a basic design. It doesn't take long to build and to test. And at the amperage, it's perfect for a health unit, just all around health unit. And at higher levels, who knows? We would have to ask a bigger teacher and a more knowledgeable teacher.
So, for a health unit, what are you doing? Are you going to step inside that, or are you going to stay outside of it?
If you stand inside of it, you'll be surrounded by plasmatic fields. You'll be plasmatized. You'll be energized at the full scale of the body. The fields of plasma go a long range, but with this, it makes it more instantaneous healing through plasma, because the plasma is going to do its work. And if you put the right ganses and you work the right recipe, the structure's there and the basic principles are there for the flow to follow. So you just have to come up to what direction you want to do it, and it's easy to add to this. This is just basic structure. What's about the circle? The circle is the most fundamental structure in the universe, and with that structure, you could do many things, like this, for example, or 3, like I was showing before, in a pyramid, or 5, or 6, or 7, or 8, or a flower of life, or it's you could even. I have other models that they're relooping on the other one, and it gives voltage. They're not in parallel. It is so. With the circle, I have you just put your bottle in it because of the form itself. You could do many things with the circle, like the McGrath. You could do many things just because it's a circle. Its function will be universal, so you could bring it to the Star Trek level of teleportation. That's what I'm drawing there. That's what it is. It won't have to need the wires. You could use pens to direct the energy. And Joe was always talking about pens. You could use the new methods. I just like to use this method because it's very concrete. It directs the energy in the matter state where we can measure. So I know when there's a connection that's not well done, a capacitor that's not well done, I know where it's going to be because it can measure it. So it just helps me to direct the flow of energy. So to me, all levels of matter and existence coexist together. So there's no limit. For now, this is the best situation, and maybe in a month it'll do something else. But for now, this is the most concrete, where I know that everybody's going to get what they want to get, what they want to do. You'll be able to do what you want to do. The power is there. It's already capacitors. It's already energized all the time. It's all made of capacitors, the structure itself. That's the beauty when you function like that. you don't need to add to the system afterwards. This is going to be, all depends on the number of donuts that you use, but it umps the amperage, but the amperage on these are not, phenomenal, or maybe 30 milliamps. So you could put a lot before you get a lot of amps. I'm working with systems here that when I got like 40 cells on it, I went up to about 14 volts, but I had plugged them in parallel. So I would have had double, like 30 volts, but I decided to go get some amperage with that. That's powerful system, and I haven't disappeared yet. But they work at that level. They really work. There's no doubt. You could feel it. You could see it in the right light. I look at it. I know my systems when they're activated and when they're not, by visual and feel. So you won't disappear. You'll have most likely to put a lot of energy into it when it comes to that. So just start basic. Don't put any extras on it. Don't need to put the tube cells. Start small. Make the less number of donuts. Just to you could like I say, there's a certain amount you'll be able. I would stand into one of 27. I won't be afraid. It's when you work at higher. And what's fun with this technology is you start small. You always start with little tests. It's miniature. I work with these cells on a daily basis for 6 months almost. So I know that they're effective, and I know that they're strong, but they're just as strong as what we need them to be. Because we're working with the basic elements right now. We're not working with no atomic gold. So we're keeping it safe, and that's the idea right now. We want to build help units. We don't want to go with teleporting, but if you need to teleport, you'll have it right there. And if you really, really, really need it, you just build yourself. I won't say any numbers. Just don't do it for now. Just if you need it one day, they'll be there.
Hello.
Yes. So that's my input. Thank you for listening to me, guys. But yes, this all needed to be shared. Yes, that's it.
Sounds great, man.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Anytime.
Okay, any questions on that? Or do you want to show your thing there, Alper?
Yeah, I'm trying to turn my computer.
Okay, I'll stop my
camera.
screen share.
It is on. Okay. So when I'm near to this unit with any device, it's a bit delayed, as if their other fingers are pushing it on the keyboard. So it doesn't function. It's hard. It's quite difficult to take photos with my camera now. So I'm not going to go into any technicality with this. Just how I feel and why I made this is more important, I think. How come it become this? First of all, I just used whatever the bits and pieces that I had in my place, and what I do is I sort of create something that I like to see, and then I position them the way I want to see. And then I get rid of everything, and then I do it all over again, just so that I sort of understand everything, what I've done, and how it felt to me with this configuration or the other ones. With this one, I've listened to this morning's teaching, and that was really all the questions that has been answered. And he came to a point where he's you know, kindly asking if there are any more questions, and there isn't. Honestly, it's just everything's been answered. It's like, as Steph explains, it's just loop back to each other, and so it goes back to me again. It goes back to my understanding of this and how I can manipulate it. With the technicality, I've understood. I know what I'm going to do next step with this. I know this is, it looks silly, but I love it, the triangle that goes up there. It reminds me of the ancient Vimanas. I really like it. How I feel next to it, it is, my fingers go numb, my fingertips go numb. I shake. I get as if I'm with my pet. I'm like giving love, not sort of that way, but I'm approaching it that way. So I'm playing with that, and it's just like it's getting excited, and my fingers getting sort of like tingly. All those feelings, and so I think something is really high here that needs to be reduced. As Mr. Keshe said, the balls needs to be, the liquid gans has to be sort of a lot lighter in there, which I feel that should be that way really. So that maybe I can interact easily. It's at the moment something is heavy here. This middle bit was a separate bit that I have purchased from the Hobby Lobby, and it's been, I've worked on it so hard just so that I understand it. I thought about it, how to make it just a simple thing, and then without knowing what the outcome is, but the joy. And then it's finished. I took lots of photos of that with my silly camera, and it gives all sorts of lovely colors that I always thought that they were mirage or some sort of illumination or some kind of reflection. They're actually not. What I see what is on the photo is there. It is the right resemblance of it. I have experimented on it many times. You definitely have here, without connecting anything, there's nothing connected except this silly little Tesla coil is sort of, I don't even know what the technicality in there, so that I could collaborate it with Mr. Keshe's technology. But Rick gave me the idea, the inspiration, so that perhaps you used it, Rick, many times before. But it worked, it energized, and it gave the right no technicality, gave the right feeling, right sort of sizzling in me, and it worked quite nicely. So what I'd done was cascaded it. That cascading was the key. I've tried it previously, cascading it. It worked so well, getting it from here and just, I don't know, why is it? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to clean it. Okay, it's a bit better. It's my fingerprints. So the cascading worked nicely. I'd like to choose the right words here without using any technicality, so that you would understand how I work with feelings rather than the technicality. It's difficult to put it in words, but those feelings turns into formulas within you, and it makes sense to you somehow. And I've looked into many scientists in the past, that's how they sort of initiate themselves. They look at the mythology and lots of stories, and they turn them into somehow formulas, and those feelings become ingredients for them to mix it with. So that's just how I try to work here, so that it feels okay with me. Of course, technicality, you can watch as many as teachings and create this, but the missing ingredient is always going to be, no matter what we create, is us. It's loop, it's turnbacks. I mean, only song when it is alone, what is it doing? It can work, it can do whatever it needs to do, but when you're near it, when you're actually looking at it, it kind of responds to you. So it's the missing ingredient. You have to be next to it in every unit. Whatever you're creating, you need to be, if you leave it there, that's not going to do anything to you. You need to be with it, next to it, and then you sample it, and then you can make the distance in between you and your unit like as much as you want. That's going to be within you. All those things I'm talking, that's as if I'm repeating myself again and again, but it is the loop that has to be understood, where it goes back to you. The whole understanding has to be repeated within ourselves, with sort of more understanding, like we'll read one book when we're 5 years old, and then you read the same book when you're 20 years old. I mean, it's not that you're not going to read it, it's just because you read it before, and you want to, or the movies we watch, you can watch it again and again, and every time we see some other details. I mean, I usually look at the background if I watch it the second time, because it's another movie going on there. So it has to be repeated, and because it goes back to ourselves, this understanding needs to be felt. And purity of the heart, as Mr. Keshe says, yes, it's the purity of the heart. It comes back. I mean, you make this, you're sitting next to it like, wow, with all the angry feelings, and it's not gonna work. It wouldn't reveal itself to you, this energy, because of the sort of, you put yourself into lots of other barriers that it can't really penetrate through it, or you don't let it to come towards to you. So you need to actually have a sort of pure heart. What does that mean? I mean, it means something for all of us. So as much as we can, however much we understand it, that is the key. So what happens where you have your pure heart? It's like it's praying. Okay, that's how you activate it. This is real. You need to sample it next to your machine. You may have to give yourself sort of pictures to excite yourself, and then you concentrate on your hands as if you're holding the health pan, the feeling of this tingling, or your physical body, so that you would kind of feel and understand. We all can do it easily. You're in that state. So we need to move on to that section where, as you are distant from your unit and like praying, and like, I don't know, we all pray. I don't know how you do it, but that brings out that excitement, that feels in you. Okay, that's the chamber that we need to be in when we're approaching to our unit. I'm not talking about having wings and being super happy, and it's just like, no, it's just like being you. Well, you're there and playing, and you sample that how you feel, and then bring your distance, and then bring up that feeling again, then you're going to see that it's the field that we create. Then understanding will come to a point, it's all balanced, or you see, it's all being sort of calculated, the divine timing. It's being aligned. It's coming to an understanding where the knowledge is going up and the understanding is sort of trying to match. And then when we're sort of aligned, the questions become actions, like sort of you do it really without knowing much of a technicality or numbers, or, you know, after a point, numbers don't matter really. Really, you become the number, and you know it. You know where to put it, where to align it, and in the end, it all goes back to you. I'm repeating because it's a loop again. Again, we need to be able to sort of maybe put all the machines away, or units away, and then not meditating, not at all, anything like that. Teachings are acceptable, everyone's doing, which is a great way to bring ourselves to a point where we have these feelings and interactions, and like in your heart, the purity of the heart comes out. When it comes out more and more, you see that is coming to sort of aligning, when we're going to bring this technology into more and more reality, where, like Mr. Keshe said, the pens are real, we've done it, pads are real. I mean, come on, please. And this is far more real than anything that I've encountered, because you can feel it really. It's just like I've trained myself with the pens and the pads. So when I come here, I know how it feels and how it gives me, or what thoughts that I encounter when I'm near it. It's all positive. It's all nice that I'm thinking all about, but it's all me. You see, the machine on its own, it wouldn't fly. It's not going to fly. You need a, what Mr. Keshe calls passengers. I call guests, space guests. We're guests. When you go to your neighbor or your friend, you don't exploit, you don't, you know, steal, or we're going to be guests. So I am a guest to it, and then the machine sort of says, okay, let's go, kind of activation. I haven't gone anywhere, of course, but going somewhere is also a brilliant question. It's like, are you going there physically? Are you going there? How are you arriving there? And okay, so we accepted that we would go there. As Mr. Keshe says, it made me laugh in the morning. How are you going to come back? Yes, I didn't think about that. How am I going to come back? Where am I going anyway? So, like, coming back is like safety. I was like, okay, really, that's the key. Like, where is the safety? I mean, we're jumping out of the bridge without a parachute. Like, do you know what I mean? It's been interesting. So it popped up with billions of questions that I need to sort of experiment with it more with my intuition. Like, I use radio, which I use it all the time. It collapses the sound quite well, so you can see it, and hear it more like it, of course, in that case. I need to do other things, like not maybe, it's definitely me. I have to become tool to sort of interact with it, rather than using radio or other devices. So that's just what I'm trying to do, just with playing. So I'm going to reduce. I haven't used, I shouldn't be using sort of copper GANs in it, and like bring it into a lighter state. That's about it. Loop goes back to ourselves. Understanding goes back to, no matter what we create, which is amazing what we create. I mean, I haven't done anything that wasn't in the teaching, but I see other people are doing, Stephanie, for instance, other things, and I haven't done anything like that. It is just some sort of an inspiration where it brings out the one in you, and then you go want to fly first, like, okay, just wait and feel what it brought out in you, and then do the whatever the units, the Keshe. That's just what I'm trying to do. And then maybe I can make something where, with all these understandings, is separate to these, and then maybe I can be famous. Like combining with everything. I don't mean to be famous, nothing like that. But you see that ingredient in you that brings out that you want to fly first. No, we don't need to fly first. You can throw out yourself from the bridge. Okay, that's fine. That's your choice. But understanding it yourself has to be understood, as Keshe says, but it's a big concept. Partly the bits that where we need to understand is when we're doing the unit is the experience. Doing it gives you this sort of wisdom, as Mr. Keshe says, the maturity, and then this relationship in between you and your machine, the understanding it more, it will shape will change, the size will change, as I've done. It's like it's understanding me. It's like, look at that. It's like a face. It resembled the face. I thought, my goodness, this is me. What am I doing? And it's just like my mirror image that I'm trying to put it out with all these layering. This is my layering, and there is another layer underneath. As Mr. Keshe says, earth. Yes, I'm stepping on my earth. It has to be really strong. That's just how I feel. I like to be on the earth with my bare foot. And that was the earth that turned into some sort of a formula that I needed to cascade and get it from it. And then some kind of level it up with my understanding. This was the first layer was the Mr. Keshe's Starship configuration that I made it, which was so exciting. It works so well within its own level, and then and the top level, it is totally these aluminium. It's me. It's just like it brought out me, where I needed to look at things as if I'm in some kind of a massive laboratory, and I'm into the mood of making it. It's fun and games, and while doing it, we're doing something serious. That's another subject, but I'm talking about myself at the moment. And yes, the mirror image. And then it made sense this morning. Everything like you put the coin into the machine and it just can't accept it, and you shake it and you shake it and you shake it, and then just about to walk away, something happens, and then it clicks and it goes down, and the item comes down or whatever. And that's just what happened this morning, really. It's so nice to be able to look. This is Mr. Keshe's genius, that where he sees things, he understands it already. It's his second nature. I get it. And then he understands who made that, why he made that, and then it comes to a point, he knows all the questions already. It's his second nature, and he answers it right and then there. He actually repeats himself with different sentences and different stories, which is amazing, which I like it. I enjoy it. So yes, that's all I wanted to add. It's us that where we need to bring out this. We're guests. We can talk more and more, and it goes deeper. But to keep it inside this area, we'll explain it while you're doing it. All those questions is being answered, and I feel that it was time, this divine time that is understanding and the technology is coming, aligning, is more significant than my understanding, because this whole change is happening, is not just one department, not a technology, health, agricultural, so on so many different other levels. This is simultaneously happening, and we perceive every single thing whether we want it or not, and we're trying to absorb it and trying to understand it, and putting ourselves under a stone, our hands. That's what we need to do. I'm not talking about in terms of pain or physical, it's just a metaphorical way that we need to take the responsibility of not making. Look, I've been saying it, this may seem somewhat difficult, but no, you make it. You can make easily. You put your mind to it, physical, you wind it, you do it, you make it in the end. That's not so big. You look at the blueprints nicely, you understand, absorb it, and you make your own creation out of that. It's got nothing to it. You can make gens. We're asking, yes, ask, okay, you can make it, you make gens, and purity of it, okay, just be focused, you try to make it as clean as purity. It's not just physicality, your heart, purity of your heart, as I said, the intention of creating that gens cup is also a step, isn't it? Like, you are starting to make, it's not going to make on its own, and when it is being made, it's not going to sort of filter itself out. You are touching it. That's what we need to go back to this. As you do it, this is you're not dreaming, you're really doing it, and we're there. The intention has to be, so I don't like using has or have. Intention is a field, is a word, is like love or I don't know, heart. It's what matters is how much energy we put into it. Okay, it's like, as we accept ourselves as dedicated energies, dedicated souls, we do individual things, and then when you look at it all together, it's all one thing in the end. And yes, energies, in another perspective, is not positive, negative. It's all the same. It's all the same, one thing. How much energy you put into it towards negative or positive is not ignoring while you're putting the energy. You're actually, even if you don't like the negativity or anything like that, while you're dealing with it or writing something, a comment or anything, you're actually giving energy to it. So let's just stop first giving our precious dedicated souls towards negativity. Okay, it's all one thing. We have the choice to it. So the positivity is these are all words. How much energy we put into it, that matters. Do you know what I mean? So it goes back to this, yeah, to us. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hey, Alper, that's quite a stream of consciousness there. Thank you for your impressions and around the circle, as you mentioned.
Thank you so much. So one last thing, I'm going to go to Istanbul with my family on the 6th of July. We'll be there. It's my divine timing that I needed to go back to Istanbul, as my language, my mother tongue is Turkish. So I've talked to a couple of my really dear Turkish friends in Istanbul, and we're planning on joining the teaching, Mr. Keshe's teaching, for the first time from Istanbul. He has some devices and some things to show, and then yeah, that's just going to be, it's exciting. That's why I wanted to share it with you too.
That was in the middle of July, you mentioned?
6th of July, I'll be in Istanbul,
Right.
and
Yeah, I was just
schedule.
wondering, the teachings will stop at the end of July, so we understand it. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, we should be able to tie in there. Be good to.
I'll be there quite a long time. I'll be there till the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yes, maybe with
Great.
your help, of course, with your permissions, and yeah, why not?
Well, we'll keep doing these workshops, and we'll also have the Thursday Knowledge Seekers workshops will continue through the summer, even though the
Amazing.
private teachings will be closed during that time. Okay, I'm going to have to kind of wind things up here now so we can get time for the private teachings, speaking of private teachings. Is there any questions for Alper or anything else that anyone wants to bring up or say at this time?
You're finishing it up?
Well, we've been here for 2.5 hours, Armin. How you doing, Armin?
I'm doing great.
Do you have anything you'd like to show or bring up as a topic, Armin?
I don't know what's your topic today?
Well, we've had several fun things here. Stephane has showed his circular plasma capacitors and how they're made and so on. And Denny showed his multi-coil setup that he's working on and his bathtub design and whatnot. Bathtub, yeah, it's a blow-up bathtub. It's like basically like one of those blow-up pools with 3 air chambers that go around in tubes, and you sit in the middle. And he was saying you could fill the chambers up with GANs, for example, and then have an air bath instead of a water bath, or you could actually put water in it as well and have it that way as a portable bath unit.
Okay, that's nice.
He doesn't have a bath where he is, and he wanted to be able to experiment with that.
Oh, this is nice setup. Whose setup is this one?
The one that we see right now? Well, that's Alper. He's been talking for, well, he's been on for quite a while here, describing more his feelings with his system rather than the technical details about it. And that's been an interesting listen for the last while. See, Mr. Keshe is on here now. Mr. Keshe, is that you? Or is it some imposter?
No, it's me. Good morning.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. It seems to be a nice setup. It's a nice setup.
Yeah, this is Alper, and I don't know if you want to explain more about it, Alper. You were saying earlier that you weren't getting into... He didn't tell us any of the real technical details about it, but he's talked for probably half an hour about the way he feels with the unit. Is there anything you want to add about that, Alper, directly to Mr. Keshe? Or any questions?
As I heard Mr. Keshe's and Armin's voice, it gives me the joy and the excitement, and my tongue goes numb and it goes scattered, sort of. But yes, it's here. Technicality is not a big question, really. I mean, it's all what I've done was depending on the ratio of my whole thing. I've calculated towards the.
Cash.
Sorry. Have I?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay. Shall I talk or shall I? I should listen, Mr. Cashmore.
No, no, no. I just had to knock on the door to let me in. That's why I was trying to get in the office. Carry on. I listen.
Okay. So, well, the size of it depends the number of turning, and it gives me the indication of how many turns that I need to do. And sort of 9 ratio, it's very simple. And I kept it towards that. And the size shaped according to the how big that I wanted. So it continued that way, especially with this cup and what's inside there. It's a very tiny, copper wire, and I simply rolled it with my hand around taking the 9 ratio. And this was interesting, which was only the idea where it had to be me in the end. I had to put my self up there with this little thing, and as I've indicated earlier, this gives me a heavy feeling, like sort of it gives me as you, I don't know if you've ever experienced, just before you faint, your vision goes dark, and then you sort of step back and you try to hold on to someone or something, and it's a similar feeling at the moment, even though it's not sort of turning or not active. But other than that, it's euphoric feeling is there, and it needs to be adjusted sort of to my understanding, as to my, how I can put it, to my quality, and so I can play more, maybe achieve what we're expecting to achieve. Thank you. Oh, please, you talk, Mr. Keshe. I love hearing your voice, and Mr. Arman, it's pleasure. Thank you. Anything you guys would like to add to it, perhaps?
Well, I think one thing that's interesting I mean, we've been going with you here over half an hour, say, and you've talked very little or nothing about the technical details about your project. So this is interesting to start with, and you said that right off the bat, that you weren't there to talk about the technical details. You were there to talk about how you felt and how you produced this combination by your step-by-step feelings along the way, and by just doing it. You have to use your hands and actually wind the wire, like you were saying. You gotta do it in order to manifest something, and then you can go to the next step from there, and so on. So you're talking about your interaction and your evolution, your inner evolution that occurs while building this. That was more important, way more important, in fact, than the actual technical details and construction issues and that kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's the whole point. That's what we should try to aim towards more. And well, no matter what we do, as long as we do it, is the step-by-step understanding of it, is the experience, is the key. And it goes back to us, as you're looping it, you're looping yourself actually within the understanding and with your knowledge. And you come to a point, it's all different. We're all one dedicated soul, maybe, but it's separate slices of the same cake. It's just same cake, and we different accumulation of the chestnut somewhere. Somehow cream is some other places. Just like that, we understand different, we taste different, so we may bring out different. Thank you.
Never had chestnuts in my cake, actually, but That's there you go. So different parts of the world have their different parts of the cake.
Absolutely.
It's very tasty, actually. Oh my God. What combination of GANs you put it over there?
I've written it down. I'll show it to you. I need to read it. I just had to bring the whole thing towards this area where it's written in this. 6 drops of CuO2, 15 drops of CH3, 12 drops of aluminium CH3. Oh no, that was the one before, sorry. 12 drops of CH3 of brass, 9 drops of CO2, 9 drops of gold GANs, and then 9 drops of the amino acid of the gold GANs. Yeah.
Meaning you collect it from the top of the container.
That's right, the butter.
How you create your gold GANs?
I'll show it to you. Let me just put this somewhere and I'll bring out. I'm sorry, this is frustrating when it's shaking, but
Plated.
yes, even.
Okay.
And so this is the. I should put it right into it, but it's a bit far away. I have here nano-coated plates and tons of other nano-coated sort of leftovers of copper, and simply is that I hanged it one side. I've learned it from you, Armin.
Okay.
Sure. I hanged it here, and ratio of the salt water, I do not sort of stuck into calculating how much salt I should put in. I put it in when I look at my cup and how much it can take within its component, and I calculated towards that, and I add sugar water as well, and I just know nothing. I just connect it to each other.
You have the whole soup in there, but you call it gold GANs. You have so many materials in there. Look,
I know it's not sort of as you described the mono gold GANs, but it has gold and it has copper nano-coated. So would that not give us GANs of gold?
It will give very little actually, because you said it's just gold plated, correct?
Sure. Yes. It would be minuscule compared to what perhaps you have created.
Here I show you how I done.
Please do.
1 minute.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
No, stop.
What would that material be underneath the gold plating? I wonder, would it be brass or zinc or something?
Well, they usually use one material, I assume, towards plating it. I don't know what that might be, but
yeah.
Look, I set it up a few today. I have here.
Okay, just a minute, Armin. I'll spotlight your video. There we go.
Thank you. Excellent.
Here I set it up some magnesium. If you see it's already collected a lot.
Beautiful.
Here I set it up bismuth, and here I set it up. It's white gold, and I changed the condition. Now I change it in producing in salt water, and even this is a different. If you look at it, it's the same thing, but it's a different color. Now, this is a color of blue.
Yes.
Whitish.
Beautiful
So you can set it up this way, but try to set it up mono, because then you have exactly, the GANs that you want, and keep it separate.
Okay.
And you have, if you want a mixture, then you mix it the water, not the GANs.
Oh,
And it's easy to produce. You change the condition in the water, or acidic, or it's different salt.
it looks quite clean and quite simple. It's just very, very simple to. That's the inspiration. That's just I'm gonna do it right away. Oh yes, that's the real business here.
Natural way. So this is different. CO2,
wow.
pH3, and the rest.
Oh wow. What is that?
What is
Everything you can imagine this guy has in his house. Be careful you don't get raided very soon.
You never know. It came to my mind like sort of a picture. Look, I'm doing this and that, helicopters and stuff. Like we watch movies and we get inspired by it, and I'm just like, I don't watch it as much, but my daughter does, and sort of, what if I get raided right now? Like I thought, come on, let's do it.
Mr. Keshe, one thing I want to show,
Did you get a message what I told you to do with it last night, Ahmed?
Yes, I did.
And?
I'm thinking.
That'll take you months to put it together.
No.
When you think God goes to sleep.
Oh my God. Anyway.
Just like a barbed wire, just wind it around it and lock it. You know the coils you make, yeah? Make a very thin one, like gauge 18, 20, 22, yeah? And just put it like a barbed wire.
So you're saying like this?
Yeah, no, not that way. Cross, up and down, from north to south, and south to north, twice, that's all, yeah. North to south, south, yeah, that should be enough. That should do the job.
Okay, Mr. Keshe, I want to ask you one thing. This is the product I came, this is what I want to do. I want to create a pad with this. But each section, you can inject different GANs.
Yeah.
And nano-coat it and seal it, that the people can lay on it.
It's a good idea.
Wow.
And it's not breakable, and it's not going to leak if you, from the side.
What are you thinking? You put a light feather people on it or heavy people on it?
It doesn't matter. It will hold 300 pounds, I think. It will not fly.
That polycarbonate sheet is really, really strong.
I tell you something, Armin. Make this a round tube. So can you make a tube out of it? Can you turn it enough to become round, the tube? No, the other way.
This way?
Yeah.
No. But there is a material I know you can make it.
Okay, if you can get a material like this, okay, and you have, if you look at what you showed, you're going to inject GANs into each tube. Put it back up. You put your camera back up. You're gonna inject GANs in this each cavity, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you get one GANs and choose a gap or two gaps or three gaps or whatever, and choose different gases, liquid GANs, not the GANs matter, yeah, and seal it to become like a tube, and you make it like a tube, okay? Let's say you have here 20 holes, yeah. You put 6 or 7 different GANs liquid inside each channel, yeah. One channel just CO2, one other, whatever. and make a tube out of it that you can look into it, yeah?
Mhm.
So when you look down the tube, you interact with the fields,
Mhm.
not with the matter, because everyone will make his own.
Mhm.
This is what I was talking yesterday to make like a glass that you can see the others.
Mhm.
You understand?
Yeah, yeah, okay.
This becomes like a binoculars, but you can change the liquid in each, and in each strength you will see different entity.
I have dismantled the binoculars, which I purchased a cheap one from a dollar store.
You don't need a lens. This doesn't need a lens. Yeah.
Perfect.
This doesn't need a lens. You need a tube like this, very flexible, that you can inject different fuels in it.
Perfect material. I see.
Yeah, you can circulate, flexible,
Okay.
that it gives you a vision. Till you don't get the combination right, you won't see.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the main point.
Yeah.
But what I want to say, if you can put one on top of each other, but across.
You can do whatever you like. You need the fields. You need to create it, because now with the liquid gas inside these tubes, when you circulate, they make their own ring.
Okay.
You understand?
I understand.
So now you're dealing with a field, you're not dealing with a plasma anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll find that. I know where to get this material, and it's flexible too.
You
Where
should
did you
be
get it?
Ring, Mr. Keshe. It's not a big small ring.
You should be able to
What?
heat that up with a heat gun, Armin.
Make a square box of it.
Okay.
From this square box.
Yeah, if you can't get it, make a square box of it, but you get more options.
How about making cells out of them?
What?
How about making cells out of it? Also, the glasses is quite impressive, but cells, turning cells, just putting two little coils in each little square and making a little cell and attaching them together and making a
You gotta be a Houdini to do that. They're small enough, these boxes.
I must confess that I made them about the same thickness. It was quite difficult, but because of the container, in this case, that is so perfect, you could come from each end and have a similar effect. Yeah, I think it could be done. I've actually also done a circuit board, which I call a circuit board, which is just aluminum and little squares of GANs and Scott towel in parallel.
Gentlemen, I have to leave. I've got to go teaching on the other side. I've got to teach agriculture in about 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. See you later on. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
We should let Rick go and get set up too, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm doing that or not, and what's happening with agriculture. Is that a private teaching or a public teaching? Does anyone know about that? Private
It's
teaching?
private, as I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Beautiful.
All right.
It was rather beautiful. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, it was.
That polycarbonate tube, if you heat it up with a heat gun gently, you should be able to bend that into a circle.
That's right. I was going to suggest that John is right, and polycarbonate you can heat. You could also put it in an oven at probably around, I think, 300 Fahrenheit or so.
Have even cast, to make a cast, and like it will make any shape you want.
Yeah, you could press it into a, heat it up and let it get soft, and then press it into a form, like, yeah.
Wow.
It's a beautiful material. Thank you so much for sharing it.
You're welcome, guys. Have a very wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, Armin. And yeah, I think we're going to shut things down here. It's been about 3 hours, so that should be adequate for today. really appreciate all the good quality input today, and good pictures and audio, and thank you everybody for your contributions. Stefan, excellent, and Alper, appreciate yours, and Denny, and so on.
Thank you so much, Rick.
It's
Thank you.
all great. Okay. Well, until next week or Thursday, whichever, or Tuesday next time, or whatever you happen to be present and or participating and presenting. We'll see you that time around. Okay, so I'm going to end the live stream here.